Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, Monday through Friday, from 1 to 3 p.m. Central, so I can get to ride home with you in the afternoon. You can find us on the radio at iacradio.media, where we are Fox News affiliates. You can also find us on television, Channel 182 Charter Communications, and Abundant Television, syndicated on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Don't forget the podcast on the newscasters.com, where everybody has their say, and it's just a great place to be. You can also send emails. I encourage you to do that. It really makes my day. If you would like for me to do a little research for you, if you have some ideas for shows, we can do that as well. Most of your ideas are here lately. Rick Staines is with us, and good friend, been with me for 19 years. Man, we're getting old, Rick.
That's why I got the ring.
Yeah, it's getting there. But Rick is with us. And so a lot of the recommendations, what people would like to see because of the situation our country is getting itself into, is more a little bit on security issues and how do you survive it's just a weird world where strange things are normal is strange.
Yeah. Well, that goes back to the one thing that I'll always say to anybody is know your surroundings. Be very aware of what's going on around you. And that's basically what people have now seen and started doing is, okay, so take into account the whole Trump thing that happened a couple of weeks ago. Okay, they couldn't do that in the 60s. When it happened to Kennedy, it was easy to cover up. It was easy to tell a narrative, tell a story, because there was only one video, one recording of that, and that was the Zapruder film. Now, when you try to do that, we saw the aftermath of that. Not only that, but there was a precursor to this, which was actually Vegas. Because in Vegas, loads of people knew what was going on, but it got squashed really quickly, because what you believe or what you were told about Vegas does not fit what actually happened. It was way worse than what you could even imagine. But all of that video evidence was taken because they took the phones and they cleared them. Whereas this one, people were like, no, we're not doing that. So it's gone to social media and everything else. And you can't hide anything now. It's very difficult to hide anything because someone's going to have a camera somewhere and they're going to record you doing something, which is what happened. We had all these recordings. This is people being situationally aware. You look at the general public were more aware than the law enforcement agencies or the main law enforcement agency that should have had that area. The people were more aware than they were. And that's just because we've become that way because of the way we've been treated.
It blows my mind because people were actually, before the whole event even started, people were holding their phones and they were trying to get the law enforcement to look. They would say, look, that guy is, something's not right. That guy up there. And it's like, did they feel like they were overstepping boundaries? What's the deal?
I don't know. I saw one the other day where the cops saw the guy 90 minutes beforehand and were trying to tell the Secret Service there was somebody that they'd seen. And I'm like, why didn't you just arrest him? If you saw him and he had a rangefinder or anything that looked like he was going to do some shooting, or he was not even supposed to be in a building or on a roof, why didn't you just arrest him? Because there's so many questions of why people didn't do what they were doing. Mm-hmm. It blows my mind, and people go like, well, maybe Trump set it up himself. And, in all honesty, people go, well, maybe he did. Okay, no one is going to get someone to shoot at them that closely on the hoping that they miss. It's not going to happen.
Now, Rick, okay, we're going to play a little game right here. We're going to pretend that somebody's trying to assassinate me, but here's what I want you to do. Only nick my ear.
Yeah, no, that ain't gonna
happen. Don't shoot me. Don't blow my head off into bits, but just can you just get my ear? I'll even hold it out like that so that it sticks out a little bit further. That makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, this at 400 feet is small enough to hit, and it's difficult enough to hit even at 400 feet. Okay, to actually hit your ear to request would be virtually impossible. I would say it would. I mean, there'd be very few people that even want to attempt. It's just something that people get.
I don't know. You might find a Kamala voter that might do it. I mean, for people who can't think for themselves, you might find.
What's the consequence if you miss? Oops. Sorry. It's late. And, you got that much error. No.
Well, this is just totally insane. For that whole thing, to even think he set that up, that's just stupid to get sympathy. That's just dumb. And now they're on the VP, JD. By the way, have you read the book? His book,
no,
JD?
I saw the movie.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the pot calling the kettle black. I mean, again, they're going down the road of calling Republicans weird and pick weird and everything like that. And you go, okay, well, let's just look at the people that you picked and put into places in your cabinet, okay? And you remember the guy that was in charge? Was he in charge of? And he was nicking luggage, dressing like a woman. It's like, come on, dude. You can't. This guy's. So the lady was the other day saying, "Oh, he said what he said about the children because he only wants to have more white children, but his wife's Indian. He has mixed race children, so that doesn't even go with the narrative."
I mean, the whole thing is stupid. You can just go against everything they say. I mean, okay, his wife is from India, so he's a racist. Come on.
Yeah.
Wife's family is. I mean, there's no.
Well, you even got Kamala, who's like going on about Trump not wanting to debate her. So he goes, well, I'm not debating you because at the time she wasn't the nominee, wasn't officially the nominee. So he was like, until someone said officially you're the nominee, I'm not going to debate you. And it was this big fraud, like he was just running away. And so when she was made the nominee, he went, okay, let's have a debate. What did she do? She runs away. She will get destroyed because he wants it on Fox. She wants it on ABC because on ABC she gets more leeway to do what she wants. She'll get leaked questions and all that stuff. He wants a live audience. They don't because he can win an audience.
I think he can win even if they choose ABC because
he will.
All he's got to do is show up.
Yeah, I think he would. Yeah, I think he would win either way. I just would like to give him more than what he had last time. I think especially with an audience. I mean, she appeals to certain. I mean, you saw what they did in Atlanta with Megan Thee Stallion, and it's like, there's no way, even on just like a social norm. Megan Thee Stallion, if you read the lyrics to the song, you go like, why would you even want that on the stage representing you? And then everybody that went to see Megan Thee Stallion when she came on, when she went off and Meg wasn't going to come on, they all went. It's crazy. They've been caught using Adobe Photoshop to Photoshop and do video, so they made the crowd look bigger. And if you look in the background, you can see people's hands coming through posters. You can see signs that aren't quite right, and they're not quite right. There's a guy that's been actually superimposed into the video. It's the only white guy. It's a token white guy there. You're like, it doesn't even look right because you can see through his ears. So he's been green screen. So it's just like crazy right now. The stuff that they're pulling is just absolutely crazy.
Well, they do this all the time. And then, of course, Trump, you can go to have you ever been to a Trump rally?
No.
They're huge. We've been to two. And one was in Rome, Georgia. You know how small Rome, Georgia is.
Mm-hmm.
We had to park. We had to walk like a couple of miles to even. I mean, that's how it was, and we were glad to do it. I didn't see anybody out there acting like they wanted to start a Black Lives Matter chant or anything like that. It was just we were just having a good time. I didn't see anybody. They act like we're just a bunch of nuts. I mean, it was nothing like that. People who love their country, and it was surprising the number of young people out there.
Yeah. Now, if you look at anything, I mean, you just take on a reaction. Say, for instance, after the Trump attempted assassination. Okay. Now, if that had been on the other side, if someone had tried to take out Biden or Harris, we'd have had a riot. We would have riots. We would have cities burned down. We'd have had loads of stuff going on. I mean, it's going to be even just as bad if Trump wins or when Trump wins. The left is going to go nuts. They're going to go nuts. They're going to go just riot and do their thing. And I'm hoping that at some point, Trump and whoever he assigns to do whatever job goes, okay, we're going to give the law enforcement all of the powers they need to do their job that have been taken away from them under this current administration. Because it's sad when you see the stuff that goes on in some of these cities, because they have just literally had everything taken. There's no power. And you've still got these people thinking that you can survive without, law and order and a police, a good, solid police law enforcement force.
Well, you remember when Hillary didn't win, people were crying, gnashing of teeth. People were just going nuts and all this kind of stuff. And I thought it was funny because people were like adult people were buying coloring books. They just had to find a way to cope that Hillary lost. So are we going to see that again? Are we going to have to buy adult coloring books?
Oh yeah, I think you'll see it amplified this time. I think it'll be even worse this time because they're so amped up on what they believe is going to be, it's going to happen. All of this, 2025 and stuff. They're being force fed this stuff. They're believing this stuff as well. And it's like, no, that's not true. But okay, it doesn't exist, but it's not going to be implemented like you think it's going to be implemented. These are just ideas they're jotting down that they would like to see. It's a wish list, but it's not something they're going to go, this is definitely what we're going to do. Okay, but you have this left side of the pie that literally, they just keep pushing. It's like this constant barrage of junk and rubbish that comes in, and people, it's an old ad, this is how you get people to believe it. If you say it long enough and hard enough, people will believe what you say, even though it's not true. It can be proven.
However, I really believe, the West Nile virus has happened in, Texas now, and, a few other things are beginning to develop out in the country. Do you think people are going to buy that this time? Show me, make me wear a mask and all this stuff. Do you think that's going to happen? Do you think people are going to? There'll be a few morons who will. Phil saw this guy out on the river, out on the water in Guntersville, fishing all by himself. No one was around, just him and the fish, and he had a mask on.
Hey, they live among us, and I don't think they'd have to. Literally, you'd have to go draconian to implement that again, but people are just not buying it anymore because the way it was done last time, and I remember when they said, "Oh, it's going to be 2 weeks, just 2 weeks." So I made a mask out of a sock, an old sock, and I cut a couple holes in it. You could wear anything in those days, and I said to somebody jokingly, I said, "If this carries on for a long time, I guarantee you." Someone's going to turn and go no, you have to officially wear this. And it literally went down there where you had to wear a surgical mask. You weren't allowed to wear anything else. You wear a surgical mask. And if you went anywhere and you weren't wearing a surgical mask, it was the crime of crimes. You could walk in with a face covering, but no, you've got to take that face covering on and put this mask on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, let me tell you what my brother did. My brother got the jab every single time they said, get it. He was one of those. And so he wanted to know if Phil and I had gotten it. And he told Mother, he asked Mother if we had gotten a shot. And she said, Mother, of course, Mother did too. Mother followed right along with that game. And so we didn't get it. We didn't have it done. And so my brother, of course, thought we were the dumbest people on earth because we didn't get the jab. We didn't even get one. So anyway, now he regrets it. He feels sick all the time. He won't admit it to me for anything, but his girlfriend told me. So he regrets getting it. I said, really? That's very interesting, because he called us stupid for not getting it.
Yeah, I just don't think that people would fall into that again. Considering all of the stuff that's come out, it's like, there's a learning process here. You can say something, and eventually it will come out. The truth will come out, because it always does. And after all of the stuff that came out about COVID, all the stuff that was, that they were saying you couldn't take this, you couldn't take that. ivermectin was like, oh no, you can't touch that. And the only reason was because it was out of patent. They couldn't charge you for it.
Mhm.
So it was like, virtually free. And so all the powers that be were taking it. They were taking that stuff and denying us that stuff. And when that comes out, and you've been lied to, and they're having parties, and they're having, they're not wearing masks, they're not doing, the social distancing is not being adhered to, and they're telling you to do it, and then you see them on the news not doing it. It's like, no, we're not doing it. You're going to get
the rest of us were having to go around with shaggy hair, and then Nancy Pelosi goes to the beauty shop and demands they fix her hair. I mean, that's a little different. And then you can see her; she was in her refrigerator with her designer ice cream. I mean, it's just like people still follow that woman. I mean, it's just like
I remember being on planes, and and you're trying to be critical with this, and trying to be, because that this is not normal, and it doesn't compute. That you're in a line to go to check in for a flight, and there's social distancing markers on the floor, and you're 6 foot away from the person in front of you, but you look to the side and you're 2 foot away from this person who's doing the snake. So that doesn't work, because now that whole social distancing is just like been messed up, just simply because they used the snake. And then you get on a plane, and when we first started, it was like you could, while you were eating or drinking, you could take your mask off. Okay, so people were constantly eating and drinking because they could have a mask off. And then it got to a point where you literally have to lift it up, put something in and then put it back down again. And so then at the end of the flight, when you land, you're sitting there and you go and get up, and they're going like, if you could let the person in front of you get up first, get their bag and get 6 feet in front of you for social distancing, you're going like, but I just sat in a plane for 2+ hours with this person in a mask off, and I might at some point have my mask off, plus all the air's being recirculated. This is crazy. There's no logic to this whatsoever. And that's how it was. It was laughable in the end.
But I've got an idea. You just brought this idea upon my head here. Okay, so you know how it is at the airport, even now. Okay, so Phil and I went to San Antonio a few months ago, flew out there. I forgot I brought a big can of hairspray. I mean, I knew to bring the small one, but I'm thinking, for God's sakes, we're over this now. Okay, it's not like it was like in 2020. They almost tackled me. I thought, man, they're going to tackle me for that. And so the lady said, you're not supposed to take that. I'm just like, she was just like coming down on me big time because I had this big thing of hairspray. And I said, what are you going to do with it? I just bought it. And she just dumped it in the trash can.
Right.
So why don't we get the people who work at airports to work for the Secret Service? Because, man, they're on it. The people at the airport, they're on it. Because I promise you, I could have said, you know what? I think I see a shooter up there. I think they would have probably tackled the person and shot him.
Probably so. Even better if they'd had a can of hairspray or a knife, a little pen knife or a clipper or a tactical pen or something other than a gun. Yeah, I mean, the TSA they are on the ball. I mean, there are certain things you can't take in your hand luggage. I travel enough now. I mean, I always take a bag and check it in. I never carry a bag. I carry a bag on, but it's literally my backpack.
Yeah.
And I pack very, very light. I pack what I need. I know I can put in there. But I also have pre-check. And pre-check helps so much. But the first time I went through pre-check, I actually had a weapon in my bag that I forgot about. It was actually an expanding baton. So when I got through, they pulled me over and she goes, yes. She said, there's an item in your bag. And I'm thinking, what's that? And then she pulled it out. And it's like this big. It's like, it's not a huge one. She's like, what's this? I said, I'll just keep it. Don't worry about it. She goes, no, well, what is it? I said, don't worry about it. Good cop. You just keep it. She goes, well, what is it? So I went, oh, no, you can't have it. I said, I told you that's what it's called. It was like $10. Yeah, but if you do, I don't know if you have pre-check, if you fly enough to have pre-check.
Yeah, that's the way to go if you possibly can. Yeah. But yeah, we're in a different world. So, okay. So let's talk about and I know we're going to go over the, well, let's do it anyway. Okay, so let's talk about the election coming up. And Harris is pondering on, by the way, people are putting all over their Facebook, I'm with her. I thought we couldn't distinguish between a male or a female.
I know.
So
Again,
now we're going to say her. I'm with her.
it's whatever fits. It's whatever fits. They're offended by so many different things. They're not offended by, you know, the opening ceremony of Paris, but they were offended by, you know, Land O'Lakes and Aunt Jemima.
Yeah,
You know, it's like, so again, they pick what they want to be like critical of, and then they turn around and they're like, well, you know, this nothing really making. No, it's not nothing. You know, this is, you know, that was, for me, I look at it and go like, okay, well, you know, this is a celebration of sports. It's a celebration of like national pride and sports. That's what the Olympics are all about. Okay, and you can be patriotic and you can be very proud of where you're from, and you can compete for the flag, for your country, and still have friendship. There's still stuff going on there because some people can't do it. Like Palestine have a team there. Last time I remember, Palestine wasn't a country. You have to have a country to be in the Olympics. Well, they've just made an allowance for them to be there. So one of their people was fighting an Arab, and he said, "Oh, Arab fighting an Israeli." And he got angry and violent because he didn't want to shake his hands because he was an Israeli. So, okay, he just needs to be banned. Because there's no place for it. It's a sporting event. It's a massive sporting event. And they've literally taken it from all the high levels, London, Tokyo, Rio, and just tanked it. By just doing a really, really bad opening show. It was in bad taste.
Let's go ahead and go into a commercial break because this one's going to take a while, the next question. So we'll be right back in just a few minutes. Everybody hang in there with us, okay? Queen City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. Good afternoon. We're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. Thank you so much for watching every day, beginning 1 p.m. this Central Time, as we get to ride home with each other. Thank you again so much for the emails. I definitely appreciate that. It makes my day. Send an email, anything you'd like. Donna at donnasedge.com, and find us on television, Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. You can also find us on the radio at icradio.media, where we are Fox News affiliates. And don't forget the podcast at thenewscasters.com. Okay, I have my friend Rick Staines with us right now, and so we always talk politics, and which is fun. And and I agree with 99.9% of the things you agree with. I can't think of. There's got to be something I don't agree with. I can't think of what it is, but anyway, I'll find it and then we'll match it out. How about this? Okay, so I want to ask you about the Olympics where the dude beats the heck out of the girl. Why have we got to this point? Why can't we just have a man's team, a woman's team? And if you don't know what the heck you are, let's let them have their own team. Why can't we just do that?
Well, that would be the good thing to do, the simple thing to do. The problem with a lot of the stuff now is you have to ask yourself, do you believe this? Because you're told one thing, then somebody else comes and refutes that or changes the narrative on that. And they've done that with this, where now she's saying, I'm a woman, and it's like, okay, well, there's somewhere along the line you tested and you did not have the right chromosomes to be a woman. But now you're getting all the people like, well, and even her saying that they are a female. If they're a female, then fine, prove it. Just, hey, put it out there. No big deal. But if it's a male, they should not be fighting against females. End of. They should not. There's no way that men and women should be competing unless it's a mixed sport and it's done that way. But then with a mixed sport, it's going to be men and women mixed. It's not going to be transgender. Trouble is when you put a transgender male in with women, he's going to be stronger, faster, and literally, and if it's especially like boxing or anything where there's fighting, it's going to be way stronger than a woman. It should be allowed.
It should be that way. Okay, so let's pretend this were your daughter, and she's competing with this guy. In 40-something seconds, when she goes in, she has a broken nose. What's going to be your reaction?
You really want to ask me that one? Okay, like if there's any doubt, you're going to lose the game, but you're going to go for the one. You're going to go for the crown jewels, okay? Which is if you can't win by fair means, then you win by foul. And I've seen people do this before in karate competitions where they're getting so badly beaten, and then they've just gone in there like, I don't care if I'm going to be disqualified. I'm just going to do what I need to do to win. And in their mind, they walk away, they won. I mean, I've seen a guy literally punch someone straight up in the nose, blood, and he was disqualified. Now, if it was my daughter that was getting hammered by a so-called male in a woman's sport, I would go like, okay, go back in for the next round. But when you get a chance, land something squarely in the good old crown jewels.
I agree, 110%.
Go for where it hurts.
But listen, okay, I'm from another planet, and I have just landed here on Earth. Okay, so I'm hearing.
You're going home now, then.
I'm hearing on one side, and I'm talking about within the same party. Okay, I'm hearing people say now we can't say whether somebody's a man or a woman now. We don't know what the difference is between men and women. First of all, I'm a Martian. I'm going to go, really? You people on Earth don't know the difference. But then again, I see this Olympic thing happening, and it's okay for a guy. I mean, is it just to cause discord? And I mean, we just want chaos? Is that what this country has turned into?
I don't think it's just this country. I think it's everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think we've been pandering to the world has been pandering to this. When I say the world, it's not actually the world. Western countries more so. If you look at the Eastern Bloc countries, if you look at Poland, love Poland. If you look at the way the stance on a lot of the immigration, a lot of the stuff that goes on there, they're hard line on it. They're like, no, you want to live here? This is what you do. I'm like, I'm cool with that. Even you're getting a big awakening for this, because for so long we've actually pandered to this, and we've let a minority start telling the majority, well, this is what you should need to do. You need to do this. You need to do that. There's a lot of preaching going on, but there's not a lot of doing. There's a lot of people preaching diversity, equity, and inclusion. Until it comes to something that affects you and something is about you, and then they don't want the diversity, the equity, and the inclusion because you are now outside of that scope. So it's okay to be transgender. It's okay to be LGBTQ, whatever you want to be. But if you're normal, and God forbid if you're normal white people, then that doesn't account. It doesn't count for you. You can't be part of this because it doesn't count for you. That's wrong. Because again, it goes against everything that you're being told. Diversity, equity, inclusion, which I've just gone through the whole training of work. It's like everybody else has ever said. If you can't live by the simple things that you've been taught at school, even through the Bible, even through like just humanity, then you don't really need to sit through diversity, equity, inclusion. It's just a waste. It's a waste of time, honestly, and that's just my opinion. It's a waste of time because you're teaching me something I already kind of did in my just general. They just want to push it out. That's the problem.
Okay, I'll put it this simple. Okay, I like my sweet tea. I want it so sweet that it'll almost turn you into a diabetic if you're not one. I want sweet tea. I'm not going to go into a restaurant and say, get rid of all the unsweet tea because I like sweet tea. It's not about me anymore. So how did we get to this point? I mean, where, I like sweet tea. I don't take all the unsweet out.
Well, again,
just walk away. If it's something you don't like I'm not into the transgender thing, I'm not into the gay thing, I'm not into that. It doesn't cripple me enough to where it drives me crazy. I just don't go where it is.
Right. Yeah, I mean, there was a time when, if you remember when we were like, you couldn't scold your kids, you couldn't smack your kids. And that's where it all started going wrong. Once they took away the parental powers from home on how you dealt with your children, you now have a bunch of people roaming this planet that have no idea of any consequences to what they say or do. I mean, and you're held to account for that. I mean, all these people that were losing their jobs because they decided that they wanted to say something about Trump almost being killed. And they just thought, well, they could do that. Well, yeah, maybe you think you could because you had free speech, but free speech is limited when it comes to certain subjects. And one of those subjects is that. And even the former president of the United States, wishing him harm is going to get you into trouble. And so when these people go like they're getting fired and they're now having to go to like court or whatever, that's a consequence to your action. And this is about being an adult and growing up and understanding that if you say or do something wrong, you're going to face the music. It's as simple as that. And you have to understand when it is what it is. And then you've got all these people going, well, you know what about freedom of speech? All the Republicans are going, well, yeah, you have freedom of speech. But there's a certain point and there's a certain line where you can't go over because it's not then something that everybody else wants to hear, and it's actually illegal because they've already made it a statute. You can't go and say that stuff because you're going to go to jail. And if you're going to say that stuff, at least read up on the rules first of all and go, well, I can't really say that. I might think it, but I can't say it.
Yeah, but there's a word, and I know people are not used to this word. Okay, so if someone is coming at you with a bunch of nonsense, okay, this was a question that was proposed to me when Obama was president. So what happens is just by saying one word, you can take power away from somebody. So someone walks up to me, and it was a white person. So this person walks up to me, and they're as liberal as they come, and they said they were doing their head like this, nodding their head, saying Obama is doing an awesome job. They were like I would agree with them because they were doing that, and all I said was I didn't even nod my head. No, I just said no. And I didn't say another word. You'd be amazing at how powerful that makes you feel.
Right?
It's okay to say no if you don't
It's
agree
actually
with that.
it's actually okay to say nothing to it.
Hmm.
You can actually, well, there's the old adage, isn't it? Don't argue with idiots. I mean, you're going to get people, there's people walking this planet that will argue with you for the stupidest reason. Totally stupid. I mean, and this is just me being me. So my wife said to me the other day, the bathroom's yellow, okay? So she goes, I don't kind of like this shade of yellow. I want to paint it this shade of yellow. I couldn't tell the difference between the yellow that it was and the yellow she wanted and the other yellow. So there was 3 yellows on the wall. And after a while, I'm like, look, what do you like? And she said, I like that one. Then have that one. Because to me, I'm a guy. It would be yellow. It's yellow right now. It doesn't need to be changed to another yellow. It is what it is. So there's a point in any conversation where you go like, okay, look, if that's what you want, and that's what you believe, that's what you want to do, then do that. But I'm not going to sit here and talk about it. She goes, well, I value your opinion. I'm not going to listen to you, but I value your opinion. I'm like, then I'm not going to give you my opinion. It's pointless. So I'm just going to go, you do what you want to do. I'm going to walk away. And that's sometimes the best thing. You just go like, look, okay, some people you don't need to argue. You can just go like, look, do what you want to do. I'm going to go over here. Okay, because you actually live longer than
People have tried to force their opinion on me. And there's who knows what they think I've agreed to, because I just look at them and go, really what I'm thinking is I think you're probably the dumbest person on earth. That's what I'm really thinking. And they think I'm agreeing with them. I'm not giving any kind of an emotion whatsoever. I'm just looking at them. It's freeing. It feels free. I mean, you feel free. There's like total freedom. And it's okay to have.
I walked away from people work when they said, when you say something and there's an opinion, and they go like, oh, how rude. And you're like, what was rude about that? And they can't answer that because they don't know. Because again, a lot of people say stuff, but they don't understand what they're saying. They can't back it up with, hey, well, if I've been rude, can you explain to me why I've been rude? And they go, well, you're just rude. Yeah, but you're not telling me why I was rude. You're just telling me I'm rude. You've got to tell me why I was rude. Because I've then got to correct, if I'm wrong, and I have been rude, I've got to correct that and try and fix it. But if you're not going to give me an example of what was rude about that, then was I really rude, or are you just saying that because that's the phrase to use? Because that's a lot of stuff. You've got people they're just phrasing stuff because it's the popular thing to say.
Well, a lot of people, it's their perception of what rude is. Like, with Trump, I never thought he was rude. I mean, he's just laying it out there like it was. And that was kind of refreshing to me, because we hear all this stupid stuff from people who are in office, who have been in office for decades, and they make absolutely no sense when they speak. Like it's all about, and when they start this bull about, you ask a question about why are you for whatever, or why are you against it? And the first words out of their mouth is, we're going to let the people decide. Mm-hmm. When they say that, that's when I know. I mean, they're nothing.
Are they going to let the people decide, or are they going to let, if you want to take it to another level, are you going to let certain people decide, like they decided that Kamala was going to be your nominee, and not the populace? The populace didn't decide that, because that would have been democratic, and Trump's going to take away the democracy. Well, I think that the Democratic Party would have taken away democracy twice. One with Biden, because they didn't let him debate anybody. Oh, he was going to be your nominee anyway, and then now, because. And, the funny thing about that, the more you look into that and you really understand, Biden was really just throwing the votes, because they didn't want Kamala. She's not the person who wanted. But by him actually recommending that, they had to go that down the line. And it's like, because they forced him into a corner. And I mean, you can, like, what did they say to him? I said, well, it's real simple. I mean, I don't know exactly what they said to him, but I can tell you roughly what they said to him. Was like, it was nothing to do with the 25th, because that would have taken, a lot more than just it going through. It was a case of like, look, Joe, if you don't do this, we're just going to let everybody know that you have a whole family of criminals, and they're going to come after you. At least this way, nothing's going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we're going to happen. So he then said, okay. And so you got that rubbish letter. You got the rubbish communication that he supposedly had with Kamala at the rally she had. It was a phone call, but it wasn't him. It was actually AI. And then he comes out on Twitter at X and puts that he's like endorsing her, which just threw the spanner in the works, wrenching the works. Sorry for a word. And so now you've got somebody that they don't really want, and they're going to have to push because they know they can't win with her. They know they can't win with her. I mean, she's going to be. So the only way that they can win with her is by doing what they did last time.
And they will. They're planning.
Oh, they'll try it. They'll try it again.
Mm-hmm.
But I think already that there are states now that have gone like. I mean, okay, I think it was Wisconsin who said that they'll allow the drop boxes back. Mm-hmm. Again, that's just idiots in control there. If it was me, it'd be like, no, there's no mail-in ballots. Or if they are, they're going to be strict. They have to be, there's got to be strict. But how do you do that? How do you police them?
You know something? Both my granddads were amazingly wise men. Even though one only had a 6th grade education and the other one had a 9th grade education. 2 of the smartest men I ever knew. And so when something would happen, both granddads would have the same reaction. They would both say stuff like, well, let's not jump into that. Let's just sit back and see. Well, now they're talking about the Dow closing. I mean, people are just going nuts already, like, oh my God, we're about to be in a depression and all this kind of stuff because I don't trust the country. Okay. I don't trust the people who are in control, because what they do is they use anything they can to lead the masses. They try their best to do that. We've got an election coming up. I have to kind of see for myself before I start diving in to any reaction whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, and it's like, like you say, everything that they do right now, Kamala Harris blame Trump. And it's like, okay, one, he hasn't been in power for almost 4 years. So, just stop, reevaluate, what you're saying. This is purely just this government, these policies they have. They're terrible policies. The inflation is out of control. Cost of living is just, how some people survive on double. I was looking at the bills the other day and I'm like, if I wasn't where I was, I'd be like, we'd be struggling. It's tough. It's tough for everybody. And it's just crazy when you think about all of the things that are happening and prices just going up and up and up. And then, they've got the companies go like, oh yeah, we're going to do a reduction. We're going to go back. We're going to do these special like dollars. We're going to do these special, $1. Well, if you can do that, you'd actually just make enough. You'd make more money because more people go back to shopping. People don't do that anymore because going out for fast food now is a luxury because you can't afford it. You can't afford
fast
to go out.
Food is a luxury. Yeah. That's crazy.
Fast food is a luxury. You go and buy. Five Guys is expensive anyway. I guarantee you, Five Guys is probably feeling the pinch now because no one goes there because it's so expensive. McDonald's is expensive. Burger King, they're all expensive to go eat there. You're paying $13 when you used to pay $8. It's absolutely crazy. Then you go to the grocery store and it's not bad. You're paying stupid money. People just can't afford to eat.
Mm-hmm. That's why I'm just into my own thing. Have your own. What's really neat is, okay, you have bell peppers, which sell for over $1 a piece at the grocery store. Okay, over $1. I plant one seed and I'm just getting like oodles of bell peppers. Well, it turns into it's a smart thing to me. And you can be in New York, and if you have, according to homeowners associations, their guidelines, but you can have a bucket and put a seed in it with the right kind of soil and grow anything you want to grow.
Yeah, and that's a nice reminder of and remember when COVID first kicked in, the lockdowns, what was the first thing they actually shut down in stores? If you remember, they shut down, like, you couldn't buy seeds and you couldn't buy gardening, you couldn't buy any of that stuff. Oh no, that was a no-no. You're not allowed to be self-sufficient. Remember that. They don't want self-sufficiency. They do not want people to be able to produce their own food.
Well, that's why they're working so hard with the generations now, the younger generations. People like you and me, I mean, we're never going to, it's going to be like, we'll laugh at it and move on. But you kind of think about how people have been raised, and parents are a lot of the fault of this. But how people are raised right now in school, everybody gets a trophy. Well, you know what that does? I mean,
Yes.
the kids who are ambitious aren't ambitious anymore.
This is the crazy thing. And I don't know if you've noticed. I mean, I've noticed a trend where you get these people making these meals. And what they'll do is they'll take a load of processed stuff that's already been made, and they'll get a casserole dish and do this with cheese and do this with something else, and just add all this stuff in there, and they come and then at the end of it, they go, "Oh, this is so good." And they're like, "Oh, that's so bad." If you look at the ingredients they just put in there all together, I mean, the sodium alone would be just shockingly bad, because they've got no idea on, like, okay, so when I went to school, and probably when you went to school, I did home economics. You were taught to cook. You were taught how to cook from scratch. You did everything from scratch. You made your own pastry. You got that pastry ready, and you did things from scratch. You learned how to cook. Not go out and buy a can of this, a can of that, this, that, and then throw it into a dish and go like, "Oh, it's a gourmet meal." No, it's not a gourmet meal. Okay? It's just a load of junk. And that's quite prevalent now. You look at anywhere and all these people do it. And you go like, this is absolutely crazy.
Phil and I went to a restaurant a few weeks ago, and it was hilarious. Okay, and the woman even admitted it. She said, and she was an older lady now. This wasn't some young person. So she said, "I want you to try one of these chicken fingers." Well, I'm thinking she got the chicken, at least got the chicken meat from the grocery store, and she put her own special sauce, breaded it in, and whatever, That's what I'm expecting. So I get it, and I'm like, and she said, "Well, those are new at Sam's." And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Wait, I'm never coming here again. I didn't tell her, but we were in the car, and I said, "We're never going there again." So she goes to Sam's, and they're already breaded, they're already whatever, but she's selling them at premium price as if she'd sat in sweat of herself and breaded it herself. And that's my idea of eating out. I go where somebody they let it set in whatever sauce, and so it has this good flavor to it, and then they bread it, and then they do whatever they want to. I don't want the restaurant to go to Sam's Club and buy a bag of chicken fingers and then get it out there and sell it to me at premium price.
But you'd be surprised at the number of restaurants. And I
wouldn't be surprised either.
Do you remember when the tornado hit Colby? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So my job, I was called by somebody and like, "Hey, can you go up to Cracker Barrel?" And they paid me good money to sit outside and make sure Cracker Barrel was still. Okay. And I did. I got my camera, my phone out. Daily updates on the gas station in that behind people going for gas. And behind Cracker Barrel, they got in a refrigerated truck. And I'm like, "So what's that for?" And they're like, "That's for the frozen food." Everything in Cracker Barrel is from the freezer. There is nothing good home cooking about Cracker Barrel. And I'm not dissing them, because that's just, that's what they do. But when you go into Cracker Barrel and you think you're eating good country food, you're not. You're eating frozen food. And it's probably from somewhere else, like Iceland, from somewhere else. Okay. From like Sam's Club or Costco, where they bought it in bulk, or they, big manufacturer, same product place that makes those things for those companies, and it's put into the fridge and sold to you as like good down home cooking, and it's not. It's something.
Well, how about this? I just go to Sam's myself and get the cheap chicken fingers and just throw them in the oven myself. That way I'm not going to have to sit and wait forever for somebody to do it for me. I mean, I'll just do it myself.
And pay 3 times.
Yeah, and pay 3 times more. By the way, what's going on in Coleman? Have you seen the Jamaicans who are coming in, the Haitians who are coming in? They're taking over Coleman.
I kind of, I don't know what to think anymore, because it's just like these little towns that we have that get taken over. I mean, I've noticed it here in Glenbrook as well. There's people just popping up, and they're like, you don't normally, you're not normally, because as you would know in general, you have a small community, people, you get this influx of strange people coming in. I don't know. Coleman was changing when I first got there. It was already changing from in the old days, but it used to be the way it was way back then, with the reputation of being the way it was. And I remember I used to have my studio, but I used to come out like in the evening, and it was a guy. You always tell in the black guy. You always tell when he was late, just to get out of the car before it got dark, because it's reputation, and it's kind of sad.
Who's the fault here? Is it the city council? Is it the mayor? What's happening?
I think that you can squarely put it on a number of people. I mean, you've got to put it on, first of all, the government, the federal government, and their policies for the border. And you can put it on the border czar, who apparently wasn't the border czar, but was the border czar. But they tell you it wasn't the border czar, but is the border czar. They've just actually been told it's court order now. They have to have that all completed. They can't even appeal it. They have to do it. Something came up the other day. So you've got the government, because they've allowed this. And then you've got, not so much the city, but because they don't get a choice after. This is like these people just turn up. What are you going to do? Mm-hmm. I mean, what are you going to do?
Well, it's happening. It's make the appearance of more in small towns than it used to be. I know Boaz in Albertville is horrible there. There are times I do not want to go through Boaz, because people are coming in from other countries. You've been to Mexico. You know how people drive over there? I mean, they're just, they don't even they'll just drive up on a sidewalk and not think anything about it. And then most of them don't care what their cars look like. And so you have to, you're avoiding people like pulling themselves out. And I think it's okay to say things are happening now, but they don't want anybody like Trump. They don't want anybody like you and me around saying, no, this is how it really is.
No,
they want to shut you up.
The thing is, because the small town, it was bound to happen, because places like New York, Chicago, LA, San Diego, they're at capacity. They can't do it anymore. And now you've got, Gavin Newsom, the wonderful Gavin Newsom, who I'm quite thankful will never be president of the country, because the trouble is with California and what he's done with California. He was a big part of the problem for San Francisco with his policies, and now the policies they do now. Now he's like kicking you can't be homeless now. You've got to move on. We're going to kick you off. But you invited this. This is all like just because there was rulings that they could put. They couldn't rule against people putting a tent up on certain places. So they've taken, again, one side of the house has taken this and gone, well, you can do this because it's legal. Now you can't put a tent up here, but you can put a tent up on the side of the road here. They can't do anything. So you have all this stuff going on, and this just leads bad policy. And we end up now where we are. Now they don't go to the big cities. They've got to come to the small town, because the big cities are just they're a breaking point. So there's nowhere else for them to go apart from the small town, and that's what's happening. And we'll see it a lot more.
Well, and Pandora's box has been open. It's like, I don't know what gender there was even a woman, I meant to send this to you. There's a woman who is actually in love with her tree. This is real. Someone sent this, like, come on, please.
No, there's a guy. I think there's a guy in England married his car. And you go like, okay, on what planet? If you was like an alien coming to this planet, you wouldn't stop. You'd lock your door as you went past, thinking, I don't want to have anything to do with these idiots down here because they don't understand. The reason why marriage between a man and a woman was brought into being is because at the time people were going into the wilderness, into the desert, and you have to take it because the Bible was about a certain area of the world. It wasn't about the whole country, a certain area of the world. And people were going into the desert, come out, and married to their camel, or married to something else. I mean, even if you look at, Caligula, who, was married to his horse. I think he was also married to his mother, if I'm right. There's all these weird stuff. So they had to kind of normalize things, Normal's nice. The weird stuff, not so much. If you want to marry a tree, in love with the tree, good luck to you. If you're in love with your car,
we wish you the best.
Yes, I've worked for you.
I don't know. It's just nuts. I don't know. I do know. I think it's okay to speak out against things. I really do.
I think
that's why I love Trump.
Yeah, I think if that's what floats your boat, then fine. But don't put it out there. Don't think it's normal. Don't get hurt when you're told you kind of like got a mental issue, okay? Because you have. If you're in love with an inanimate object or a tree, you have a mental issue. You
got a problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when people tell you that, don't be offended by it. But that's the problem. We've now legitimized all of this crazy mental health thing. And people just think that they can do whatever they want to do because they've been allowed to do it in the past. And other people have been allowed to do it in the past.
Well, next is going to be bestiality is already getting out there. And then, but I'll tell you where I draw the line. So when I hear somebody's harmed a child and taken away their innocence, that's when they got to beckon to me. Because I will not back down on that one.
Well, if you're talking about the children, you think about what happened in England this last week with the children being stabbed by a so-called 17-year-old, second generation or first generation immigrant from Wales. From what his parents were abandoned. They were at some event. It was a Taylor Swift dancing class. And he just took care of them. He's killed 3 of them. There's several of them in hospital and critical. Britain has just gone absolutely crazy. I mean, there's a huge awakening right across several countries right now. One of them being Germany. I mean, if you see what's going on in Germany right now, where they're literally raiding mosques because of all of the sponsoring, terrorist sponsoring that's going on. You've got Britain that's having marches against, they just want to be British. They want to be British. They want to stop the immigration. They want to stop all this stuff going on. When we can't defend our innocence, that's when the gloves come off. And the kids are innocent. They don't do anything to deserve to be killed while they're at some function enjoying themselves by some stranger who just gets it into their head. Oh, I can do this. No, you can't do it.
We're going to have to call it a day. Thank you so much for being with me today. I appreciate it.
Much.
And thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you have a super duper awesome rest of the day. You take care. Bye, Rick. See you later.
Bye.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.